So, you want to speedrun Wind Waker, do ya? Well, of course you do. Wind Waker is arguably one of the top Zelda games of all time, and was an integral part of our little Nintendo brain childhoods. You've always been a gamer, and one way or another discovered awesome games done quick, and through that started following legendary Zelda runners like Linkus 7 or Gymnast 86. Well, then you went into your closet, broke out your GameCube. Wait, that's a Wii U. Where's the GameCube? I thought we were playing Wind Waker. Oh, I'm Fodder Cannon, and welcome to Speedrunning Wind Waker HD for Dummies. Okay, now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, Fodder Cannon, why don't you just run the version on the GameCube? Isn't the original one always better? No. In general, the HD remake of any game is kind of discarded a couple years after release in favor of the original or SD version. In this case, the original Wind Waker on the GameCube had a 10-year head start and was already one of the cornerstones of speedrunning as a whole. So if the speedrun for the GameCube version had 10 more years of development over the HD version, then why should I play HD? Well, because the speedruns of these games are significantly different, and in many ways, which you will learn with me in this video, are easier than learning the GameCube version. I, like you, am an amateur speedrunner, and just a few months ago I was learning this game for the first time. And let me tell you, speedrunning can be really intimidating. And speaking of intimidating, the trick that you do literally as soon as the game starts is called the manual super swim. Get excited. I get excited and then I do an early pause and I lose everything. If you're a casual speedrun spectator, you probably heard this trick. You probably also heard the streamer explain it and it made your head spin. Now, if this sounds like something that's way too hard for you to learn right out the gate, well, don't worry about it, because we're not doing any of that shit. Instead, we're going to be running the restricted route, where MSS is banned. Oh, I'm drowning. Now, without further ado, let's get into the run. And we start this run with learning speedrunning rule number 1. Lore is slow. Who needs to know about some weird pig demon man getting beaten by an elf child 100 bajillion years ago? Boring. Unlike the GameCube version, which has you watch about 4 minutes of lore at the beginning, the Wii U, in all of its innovation and glory, added the skip button. But don't get too comfortable with it, because it's the only cutscene in the game you can skip. We start our journey just like our sleepy boy Link, who wakes up from a deep slumber on the hard planks of the lookout in Outset Island. Such a sleepy boy. Where we are immediately interrogated by our younger sister Ariel. The fastest way to mash text in this game is to hold the B button and force fast text and spam A to make sure you skip to the next text box as fast as possible. Unskippable cutscenes are my favorite. Just do MSS and you'll skip all the cutscenes. Yeah. Very funny. Wise guys over here. Dumb bird. Oh, okay. That's why you don't do that. Oh my god. Unfortunately, you are going to be getting a lot of practice with text mashing until we get to Dragon Roost Cavern. Because if you don't do MSS, we have to talk to a lot of people to progress, including getting the hero clothes, the telescope, sword training, saving Tetra, and getting the shield, all on Outset Island. Feliz cumpleaños! So I just explained how the intro lore is the only cutscene in Wind Waker that you're able to skip by intended means. But there is a method that was found called pause storage. This trick requires both the Wii U gamepad and the Pro Controller. The community isn't entirely sure why it works, but when you pause the game with specifically the options menu held on the gamepad touchscreen, it takes the game longer to actually pause. Wind Waker HD runner Lep found that as long as the ground is completely flat, the side hop animation is the exact same time it takes to pause. So you can buffer a side hop on the same frame you press the Wii U home button while holding the options menu button on the touchscreen. Then press home again, releasing the options button, and side hop into the load zone. If you did it correctly, you should be able to see the options screen on your main screen and you should be able to walk around. This lets us do anything on the pause menu during a cutscene as well, specifically save warping. With this trick, there are 2 skips for cutscenes that you can do on the island. One is the cutscene skip where Ariel gets kidnapped, which requires kind of a complicated setup where you lure one of the bokoblins over to the entrance of Forest of Fairies, and then you kill him and immediately exit the load zone. Then you use pause storage to go back into the load zone and start the cutscene. This one's kind of annoying and RNG dependent because he doesn't always like to attack you, and you have to get him kind of over this rock.
You attack me or no? Oh, God damn it.
So after about 2 hours of learning this trick, I found out that it's actually 45 seconds or so slower than just doing the Forest of Fairies normally. So, yay learning. But it does put Link over on the lookout for this cutscene, which is pretty funny. Look at him over there.
There we go.
Hey, look, I got pause storage.
So this first part of the cutscene is not skippable, but the second part of the cutscene where you see Ariel getting kidnapped is. That's the whole point of this.
After we skip the cutscene where we save Pirate Girlfriend, and she tells us that she is in fact not dead, and kind of just walks it off, we head back to Grandma's house to get the shield, so Tetra agrees to take us on the ship to save Ariel. And after that heartfelt goodbye, we head over to Beetle's shop to do the second instance of pause storage to skip the very long cutscene of Link leaving with the pirates.
Bonk. Alright, let's try this pause storage thing again.
So for this one, you actually have to get pause storage inside of Beetle's shop and navigate blind over to Tetra to start the cutscene. And after it fades to black, you switch to the gamepad, and then you can do a save quit to skip the cutscene. Good. Yeah, there we go. Side note, when you do pause storage, you need to use the D-pad on the gamepad rather than trying to use the touchscreen, because it won't work in this state. Ship. Now that we are on the boat, we do a very frustrating but required rope puzzle. And what do you get for your efforts? A bag that you don't use for the rest of the game.
All of that, and you get a bag.
So in the game lore, the pirates have taken Link to Forsaken Fortress to save his sister. But they're not entirely sure how to get in. So Tetra has the bright idea to put Link in a barrel. Yeah, it doesn't go well. Surprise. It has taken me until now to realize casually Wind Waker had a high barrier to entry. First the ropes on the pirate ship, then this place where you don't have your sword, there are enemies and spotlights everywhere that put you in jail. So Nintendo basically crammed a stealth mission and is the first real dungeon. This is a kid's action adventure game, I'm not trying to do stealth. Right as you get out of the water, we can turn to the left and do a little jump onto the rock to skip the cutscene of Tetra talking to Link through the Gossip Stone. Then we dodge 2 spotlights and pick up 2 red rupees for the sale later. We then navigate up the stairs to the right and do a window jump and make our way up to the only spotlight you actually have to disable. After killing the bokoblin, we go back and window jump again, going to the right door this time.
Oh no.
And now for the first run killer, the 2 moblin room. If you have good enough rolls, you will be able to run past them before you trigger their animation to throw their lantern and toss you in jail. But if you don't have perfect rolls,
No fear.
oh my god, what? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, fuck this place. They throw you in jail, and you have to backtrack all the way back to that room. Oh yeah, and the spotlights you dodged earlier also put you in jail. I was not in the light. So when you're first learning, just take the barrel of shame because this is only 15 minutes into the run. After that room, there is one more moblin you have to get by, but he is a bit kinder, so you can kind of just roll past him if you're feeling confident. There is a little speed tech you can do on these ledges called fast sidling, where you basically just tap the joystick in the direction you're going. This Forsaken Fortress cutscene is not skippable on the restricted route, so you basically have a couple of minutes if you need to take a stretch break or something. And you get to watch Link get yeeted off of Forsaken Fortress, which is always fun. You were surprisingly dull-witted. So now that we have been booted off of Forsaken Fortress 1, we are on Windfall Island. At this point in the run, you should have at least 60 rupees, from the 3 red rupees we collected in Forest of Fairies and a Forsaken Fortress. You'll need another 20 to purchase the sale. In Windfall, there is a lot of avoiding talking to NPCs, but unfortunately we have to talk to Tingle, which is actually a HD specific requirement, because, fun fact, the GameCube version of the game, casual players never freed Tingle, so they never knew where they could go to get the Triforce charts read. So they made it so you have to talk to Tingle to get the sale. On our way to break Tingle out of weird old man jail, we can get a few more rupees by doing a spin attack on the flowers in front of the two girls, in a pot under the stairs, and make sure to not talk to Mr. Speedwalk, then go free Tingle. After that little side quest, we make our way over to the sale vendor. There are a couple more pots to break for rupees if you still need them to get up to 80. Now that we have the sale, we are on to Dragon Roost Island. So there are two major differences between the HD version and the GameCube version of this game. The first of which being the Tingle Tuner, which enables you to do a zombie hover, which we will talk about later. The second is the way we do super swimming. The GameCube version uses the Wind Waker to get storage, but the HD version uses item sliding, which requires you to have an item that puts you into first person view, in this speedrun's case, the grappling hook. So, unfortunately, we have to do most of Dragon Roost Cavern to get our game-breaking item. One very simple speed tech that saves you a bit of time is called Rock Skip, where you just hop on this rock and climb up to the ledge above it. After this, most of Dragon Roost you do casually, so we're going to speed up this to get to the fun part.
He's observing the orb like a good little wizard. Oh my god, I forgot you can't roll upstairs. Car bomb. Car bomb. Car bomb.
Splish.
Thought I was on that one. One of the things that is hard for me is deciding when things aren't worth it. Wow. Ah, oh, fuck you. Side hop, jump slide. Go. Gold.
And now the run can really begin. So with a grappling hook, we can do a method that's exclusive to the HD version of this game called item sliding. This involves pulling out the grappling hook, moving forward, pausing, then holding back on the joystick in the first possible position you are able to with the joystick registering your input, called the ESS position. When you unpause, you'll exponentially gain speed in the reverse direction of the angle you are holding indefinitely. And yes, I do mean indefinitely. You can go so fast with this method that you can crash the game because you move so many units in a single frame the game doesn't know what to do with Link. Believe me, I experienced that the hard way.
There you go. And the game crashed. I did it.
There are a lot of nuances to this technique, and it's the main movement option going forward, so make sure you take your time to learn this, because you will be using it a lot. Specifically with swimming, there is also some accuracy that you need to practice with it, because there are a few ways this trick can go wrong. You can miss the island completely and void out on the edge of the map, you can lose momentum and drown, or you can accidentally load a tile you don't want to and sploosh, losing all of your momentum and drowning. Even if you drown on the tile you want to go to, King of Red Lions will bring you back to Dragon Roost.
It's just practice. That's all it takes.
That you need to keep in mind. For example, right here, if I charge it up right here with one of the items and I press target, it works great. It flings me to that corner to the left. Now, if I use that with the hook shot, it will fling me to the right.
Oh.
So that's something you need to keep in mind. And that's something that's going to be very useful for later when I'm going to
Yo.
basics of doing
All right.
jumps.
So where are we at Thorned Fairy Island? Well, there are 3 things we need to go out of the way for so we can get to the end of the game. We need the quiver, so that we don't pick up light arrows with a maximum load of 0. We need the bomb bag, so that we can get bombs later. And we need the leaf. All 3 of these islands we are going to have to super swim to and have their own little nuances. With Thorned Fairy Island, we are going to use the item slide and this little butt crack on the island to gain enough speed and clip into the island right in the path of the load zone.
I can see through the island. I see where I'm supposed to go. Oh my gosh, that was so close. That was so close. Right here. How is that not it, dude? I was right there! This game is rigged. Hey, Tyler. Welcome. Yeah, there we go. All right. Tyler, you're my good luck charm now.
So now that we have the quiver, we are going to save for safety and save warp back to the surface. Make sure to save inside the island. We do this because if you were to drown after getting the quiver, or if you saved outside of the island, the next time you spawn, you will be inside of King Red Lions and it gives you that you're not supposed to be here. It kidnaps you at the speed of light towards Dragon Roost. Sure, we can just super swim when we get to Dragon Roost, but the whole ordeal takes about a minute, so it's very slow. What we are going to do instead is charge up an item slide against the pillar in the water. Then when the water rises up, we will slide into the water towards Eastern Fairy Island. If you fail, just reset, and you'll be at the Thorn Fairy Island where you can try again.
Oh, okay. I feel like this might be too slow. Yep, too slow. Okay, we got it though. And there we go.
Success!
And to get into Eastern Fairy Island, we do a similar butt crack strat.
There we go. Okay, much better than the other island.
Unfortunately, unlike Thorn Fairy Island, Eastern Fairy Island does not have a good way to super swim off of it. So we need to employ a method called island hopping, which is another variation on item sliding where you need to get as much speed to clip through the floor called a weird shot at a specific angle and end up at a different island. Be careful that you have the right angle when you do this. If you're gathering speed for longer than 3 seconds, stop by putting away the grappling hook, or you may crash like I did in my PB.
Oh, that's not great.
You don't necessarily need to be on the island, you just have to be on the same tile as Dragon Roost. Then you can save warp in the water and end up on the island. Then you super swim from there to Forest Haven. Outside Forest Haven, usually you would do a rope puzzle to get up where you need to go. But Wind Waker has an interesting mechanic where if you are swimming and there's a platform of water above you, you will pop up to it. So we can item slide clip into Forest Haven and then ascend into the load zone that way. Then we do Forest Haven like normal. Kill the Chews, let the Koroks sing the song of their people, and watch the Deku Tree shit out a leaf. Get the leaf, don't fall, and we are done with Forest Haven. And now we do our final, hardest swim of the run, Beetle Swim. You need to line yourself up with a barrel on Beetle's barge at the side of Forest Haven so you can slide against the wall into the water. Then you need to swim all the way to Forsaken Fortress on the polar opposite side of the map. Now that we are in Forsaken Fortress for the second time to finally save Ariel, there is actually some really cool movement with item sliding, so I'm just gonna let that do the speaking for me.
Oh. Just like that, we are inside Forsaken Fortress. Movement is really cool.
So to break down that movement a bit, item sliding works by giving you incredibly high backwards momentum. Even though you can't see Link, he is moving backwards while you're targeted. That's why Link is turned towards the camera during swims. You can convert that momentum to forward speed by holding target and doing a forward slash with the sword, and that will shoot you towards the next surface. We use this technique to scale the surfaces of Forsaken Fortress for the second time. And we are posed with another problem. We don't have the Skull Hammer, so we can't open the Helmarok door, or kill Helmarok for that matter, What's the solution? Item sliding. So the door into Helmarok in Forsaken Fortress 2 has a weird second door underneath that has collision. So by sliding into the door frame at a precise angle and getting another weird shot, we're able to clip between the door and the floor and hop inside. And unlike some other load zones, for this one, you don't need to open the door to start the fight. There is another load zone just behind the door. Good. Ah, there we go. All right. Skip is a pain in the cutscenes. Cutscenes for days. Okay, so now we are in the Helmarok fight. We still can't kill him. Have you considered item sliding? After the flooding sequence where Helmarok sloops down in front of Link for you to hit him, you can actually slide past the hitbox to the ledge. If you get up and immediately turn around, Helmarok's hitbox will shove you into the floor below the boss arena. Then you can crawl under the spikes, jump onto the wall, and kind of just walk around him. Bye, Helmarok. And now you ask yourself, aren't you supposed to have the Master Sword to confront Ganon? We got the Master Sword, don't you remember? So lucky for us, the cutscene doesn't check whether or not you have the Master Sword when you enter, because the game thinks if you enter the cutscene, you must have gotten the Master Sword, so it gives it to you to make sure the cutscene plays correctly. We will see this again later when we have the Mirror Shield going into the Puppet Ganon fight. So now we just watched some casual child abuse and we are in Hyrule. Let's talk about Wind Waker's magnum opus, Barrier Skip. Just don't mind me zipping through the entirety of Hyrule Castle. If you've played this game casually, you know you need to go around the sea collecting Triforce maps and paying Tingle to open every single one. Then you go around the sea fishing for these chests. This process takes hours and hours. And if you don't do this, there is a barrier that is blocking you from getting to Ganon's Tower and completing the game. This barrier consists of two invisible walls that intersect at a point in the middle. There are two layers to this wall, a knockback layer and a physical layer. If you walk into the knockback barrier on the same frame you pull out the Wind Waker, you can be considered behind that barrier until you walk out again. The community isn't entirely sure why Barrier Skip works. The best explanation that I have gotten from a member of the community named Kithiel is basically, if you have a very precise angle in the middle of two walls at a precise speed, the game fails to check Link's position and you slide through, almost like a floating point rounding error. There is a setup you can do to get pretty persistent with the angle for this precise clip. You need to pull out the shield, do a 1 frame pause while holding left, then item slide and release to give you the momentum in the center where the game fails to check collision. And just like that, you're through. Now we just do a couple more item slides and jump across the gap into Ganon's castle. Okay, fodder, now we are in Ganon's castle. We don't have the bow, bombs, or the claw shot. How are we supposed to beat the game? Well, the first two are an easy answer, but the third one gets a little bit more complicated. So if you don't get bombs by the pirate ship as the game intends, bombs will not spawn anywhere in the game, except for one spot inside of the Earth Trial. One of the tombs flips open and there is a bomb there waiting for you. If the devs didn't forget about this one bomb spawn, this route would be completely forfeit. This is also where our bomb bag comes into play. Without it, you would pick up the bomb, but because you don't have a bomb bag, you would have a max load of 0. And we are going to immediately use these bombs to perform Trial Skip. If you go back to the entrance of the Trials section, we can item slide jump onto the top of the archway of the Earth Trial. We nudge all the way to the corner, place a bomb, backflip, then try to fly into the bomb. The game will say, hey, you're not supposed to share space with the bomb, and it will push you into the next unoccupied space, which just so happens to be out of bounds. Then you can leaf around the load zone into Phantom Ganon's labyrinth. Casually, you would have to defeat Phantom Ganon in every room so that the arrow of light will appear on the ground to tell you where to go. But the pattern is the same every time. Down, left, right, up. And just like that, you're in the actual Phantom Ganon fight. When we defeat Phantom Ganon, we are rewarded with light arrows. And similar to the Master Sword, the game actually has 3 versions of the bow. The basic bow, the bow with 2 elements, and the bow with light arrows. So, what this chest contains really is the bow with all 3 elements. This is also where the quiver comes into play, because if you did not pick up the quiver, you would have had the bow with a max arrow count of 0, but the quiver upgrade gives us 60. So we have our light arrows, we kill Phantom Ganon again, and we are on to the Grand Staircase. And for the Grand Staircase, we need to kill every enemy for the door to be unlocked. You can do this very quickly by item sliding up the stairs and killing them all instantly with light arrows. Puppet Ganon. Run Killer, Nightmare Fuel, the boss that made Linkus famous for being the Swedish sniper. Puppet Ganon has 3 phases, the first of which is the most annoying. Puppet Ganon is on strings. Normally you would use the boomerang to cut him down, but obviously we don't have the boomerang. So you will have to snipe the orb on his tail with light arrows. This is one of the most frustrating parts of the run, so I recommend a save here so you can practice it often.
All right.
Phase 2 and Phase 3 are a lot easier than Phase 1. Hit the tail and damage down as much as you can. Now with that nightmare vanquished, now all we have to do is climb the tower and confront Oh, we don't have the claw shot. So this is where it gets complicated. If you have watched speedruns of the GameCube Wind Waker, you are probably familiar with a technique called zombie hovering, where you kill yourself with a bomb, and on the frame you stand up from the game to register your death animation, you jump attack and then immediately start spamming B. Every time you hit B, you get the slightest amount of height. Then, when you get to your destination, you use the Tingle Tuner to give yourself a heart and you revive. In the HD version, you don't have the Tingle Tuner, so you have to be a bit more creative. Out of sheer luck, we have to use the little buddies that are conveniently on top of the platform leading up to Ganon, called Morths. If you do a precise slash on the same frame the Morth tries to attach to Link, you are able to get in an altered state of that enemy that gives you a heart when they normally do not. Then, you use the leaf to blow these enemies on top of the platform and you perform the Morth Hover.
The mashing just wasn't there. All right. I'm not gonna skip the cutscene. I'm gonna take it safe and just grapple Zelda. We're going in.
The moment we have all been waiting for. Ganon.
It is time. Oh, all right, I missed. That's fine. Just shoot him, Zelda. All right, I gotta get him out of the corner. There we go. That was fine. One more.
Prank him, John. You already know.
Come on. Why does he keep missing? Why does that happen? Do I have to wait until he lands? There we go. All right. I gotta do it again. Wasn't close enough. Let's go! Didn't die to Ganon. Oh, shit. All right. That's fine. Take about 5 seconds off of that. Let's go! Woo! Oh. Congrats. Thank you. Oh.
Thanks for watching Wind Waker HD for Dummies. This is the first video in a series I'm hoping to make that showcases that speedrunning really doesn't need to be all that scary. If you could leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me what you like or didn't like about the video, it helps me make more of these in the future. If you're interested in wanting Wind Waker HD for yourself, I've also left links down in the description that should give you all the resources to get started for yourself. I've been Fodder Cannon, and I'll see you in the next one.